Today I'll show you the story of hveder and show you how to make them. Also, why are they obsolete? Hi, I'm Sune and I'm a food geek. Today I'll talk to you about something that's very close to my Danish heart, hveder. Hveder are delicious buns that are incredibly soft, moist, sweet, buttery, and spiced with cardamom. So let me get into the holiday where we eat hveder. It's called Great Prayer Day, Stor Bededag in Danish. From 1520 to 1539, Denmark had the Reformation from Catholicism to Lutheranism. As part of that, the Catholic holidays were removed, but many of them somehow found their way back into the Danish church. We Danes like our holidays. So to combat this, King Christian V decided in 1686 that all the former Catholic holidays would be turned into one big day of prayer instead. Thus, Great Prayer Day was born. It falls on the fourth Friday after Easter, meaning that it can fall as early as the 17th of April and as late as the 21st of May. There are three common traditions associated with Great Prayer Day. The first tradition started in 1747 when the Church of Our Lady got a new set of bells. It was for the bourgeoisie, the upper class, to walk on the ramparts. The ramparts were cancelled in the 1800s, so these days people of all classes will walk the harbour, Lange Linie, Christianshavn, and the citadel, Kastellet, which is a preserved fortress that used to be part of the ramparts. The second tradition is to eat hveder. This tradition arose because bakers couldn't work from sundown the night before Great Prayer Day and the next day, so people would buy bread the day before, and it became a tradition for the bakers to bake hveder. People would toast or reheat them the day after. But as it is with baked goods, you can't wait to eat them, so the tradition would become to eat them warm the day before the holiday and to toast the remaining hveder the next day. The third tradition is that Great Prayer Day is one of the biggest days for confirmation. Confirmation is where you as a young adult confirm your relationship with God, which was established when you were baptized. That was the background, so what the heck is going on now? Well, on the 1st of November 2022, we had an election for a parliament. Usually, a new government forms within weeks of the election, but this time it took almost a month and a half until the 15th of December. Three parties across the middle finally agreed to form a new government. The largest party, the Social Democrats, the Danish Social Liberal Party, and the new vote-stealing party, the Moderates, led by former Prime Minister Lars Løkke Rasmussen. One of the things on their immediate agenda was the abolishment of Great Prayer Day, because they thought the extra day of work would generate more taxes to pay the 2% of our gross national product that we have to pay as members of NATO. That money was later found elsewhere, but they didn't change their views on removing the holiday. There was much backlash from the unions, the church, and even the citizens. Over 8% of the population signed a petition to not abolish the holiday, but it didn't help. On the 28th of February, the holiday was abolished from 2020 forward onwards. That means that Friday, 8 days ago from today, was the last Stor Bededag in Denmark. Hveder are now without a national holiday, but I think people will still eat them on that day, even if you don't get the day off. I know that I will still bake them, and I will show you how you can join our fight for the hveder. Talk about first world problems. The dough is made with 100% all-purpose flour and is enriched with butter, eggs, sugar, and milk. The dough is leavened with yeast. We generally use fresh yeast in Denmark, but I've converted the recipe to instant yeast because I know many of you guys cannot get fresh yeast. The recipe uses a low amount of yeast to get a long fermentation and to remove the yeast's taste. If you'd like to support the channel, please consider joining my Patreon. You can also buy some merch, use the super thanks, use the links in the description for tools and ingredients. Those were the words. This is the recipe.
There's a link in the description to the recipe on my website. So I will be using a stand mixer to make these buns, but they can be done by hand. But since there's quite a bit of butter in the dough, it's one of those doughs where the stand mixer makes a lot more sense. To the bowl of your stand mixer add 460 or 3.5 cups of all-purpose flour. Nine grams or 1.5 teaspoons of table salt. 5 grams or 1.5 teaspoons of instant yeast. 12 grams or 2.5 teaspoons of sugar. 4 grams or 2 teaspoons of cardamom. Mix it for a bit to distribute everything evenly. Then add 200 milliliters or 3/4 cup plus 5 tablespoons of whole milk. 90 grams or 2 medium eggs. 100 grams or 1 stick of butter. Mix until you have a nice and supple dough. Make a ball. Then put the ball back in the bowl and let it proof until doubled in size, about 2 hours. Then divide the dough into 8 equally sized pieces, about 110 grams, a smidge under 4 ounces. Shape each piece into a taut ball. Put them in a greased pan about 1 centimeter, about ½ an inch apart. For reference, my pan is 31.5 times 19 centimeters, 2.5 times 7.5 inches. Cover the pan and let them grow until they've doubled in size. They should fill the pan and stick together. It took me about 2 hours. Heat your oven to 200 degrees Celsius, 400 degrees Fahrenheit. The fan assist should be off. If you can't turn it off, go for 180 degrees Celsius, 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Then whip up an egg as a glaze. You can use the rest for a mini omelette for your lunch or something. Glaze the buns carefully. Then put the buns in the oven and bake for 15 minutes. Check the internal temperature, it should be about 90 degrees Celsius, 194 degrees Fahrenheit. Mine needed more time, so I gave them a couple of minutes more. Then take them out and let them cool on a wire rack or serve them scorching hot. That's it. Now let me show you how gorgeous they look.
When I look at those pictures, I can still smell the cardamom in my mind's nose. The bun is so soft, you can eat it with anything. It's great all on its own, but both cheeses, jam, and meats go well with it. You can store it a couple of days in a Ziploc bag without it getting too dry, and it stays perfect in the freezer for at least 3 months. If you try to make them, let me know in the comments what you think of them and what you put on them. If you want a priority answer from me, start your comment with hveder. I hope you learned something today. See you next time.